Let the Bible unfold itself as we wrestle with a couple of interesting concepts today. Let's first look at the historical context of the book of John. So some themes in the Gospel of John. Salvation is life. There is life in Jesus' name, the power of Jesus' word, and it is written to generate a belief in Jesus as the Christ and the Messiah. Some more context. It was written between AD 95 and 100, shortly after John's return from exile on Patmos, where he got the vision of the Revelation. And as the last living disciple, or last living apostle, John's death would marks the transition to second-generation Christianity. So the audience of his book, John is an old man when he's writing this. This is essentially the last voice of the apostles as John is writing this book. He's writing to a mixed audience, Gentiles, Jewish. There's some things in the text that indicate that he was writing to majority a non-Jewish audience, as he had to explain some of the Jewish ordinances. So he's writing to the early church, but he's also wanting to establish faith in Jesus as the Messiah. So this is kind of the general thrust of his gospel, and it's going to help us understand the story at a deeper level. John 20, verse 31 says, "And truly Jesus did many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name." Amen? So the book is written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, that you may believe it. Today's sermon is going to be twofold. I'm going to talk about the wedding, and then after we discuss the wedding, I'm going to talk about an important concept, an important question people often have when we look at this story, but I'm going to leave that until then. Let's first look at the wedding. John 2, verse 1 through 2. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Now both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. Desire of Ages, she says this: "From the day when she heard," this is speaking about Mary, "the angel's announcement in the home of Nazareth, Mary had treasured every evidence that Jesus was the Messiah. His sweet, unselfish life assured her that he could be no other than the sent of God. Yet there came to her also doubts and disappointments, and she longed for the time when his glory should be revealed. As the guests assemble, many seem to be preoccupied with some topic of absorbing interest. A suppressed excitement pervades the company. Little groups converse together in eager but quiet tones." You can picture the scene, a wedding reception, as people are kind of getting together and talking. "Quiet tones and wondering glances are turned upon the Son of Mary. As Mary had heard the disciples' testimony in regard to Jesus, she had been gladdened with the assurance that her long-cherished hopes were not in vain. Yet she would have been more than human if there had not been mingled with this holy joy a trace of the fond mother's natural pride. As she saw the many glances bent upon Jesus, she longed to have him prove to the company that he was really the honored of God. She hoped that there might be an opportunity for him to work a miracle before them." So this is the context. Mary sees Jesus come in, and she sees this as a prime opportunity for Jesus to reveal his glory, to declare himself the Messiah, to usher in this new era. However, then there reaches a dilemma at the wedding. And Jesus' mother comes to Jesus. "And when they ran out of wine, the mother of Jesus said to him, 'They have no more wine.' And Jesus said to her, 'Woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come.' His mother said to the servants, 'Whatever he says to you, do it.'" Mother's Day is coming soon, yes? A little over a week from now, about a week from now. And I just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day, because I won't be here next week. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers out there. From this verse, we see an important role that mothers carry. Indeed, the most profound task of each mother is to say about Jesus, whatever he says, do it. Whatever Jesus says, do it. Amen? Whatever Jesus says, do it. So they ran out of wine. So why would Mary be concerned with this? Well, it's likely that if Jesus and his disciples were there and Mary was there, that the couple was most likely relatives of Joseph or Mary. So Mary seems to be involved with the preparation, and the idea that there's no more wine seems to be something of immediate concern for Mary, as if it's maybe part of her task or something maybe she was in charge of. Basically, don't tell the bride, but we have no more wine. We're all out. And she comes to Jesus as his mother. Right? Because if they're related to the couple, and Jesus is part of the family, and Mary is his mother, she's going to come up and be like, hey, you should come help out. They have no more wine. Right? They have no more wine. But she's speaking to him as his mother. So we're going to kind of tackle these verses in a couple different sections. First, Jesus addresses Mary. Then he distinguishes between Son of God and Son of Man. Not yet the time to be revealed, and Mary's faith in Jesus. We're going to hit it in these 4 points. So, they ran out of wine, and the mother of Jesus said to him, they have no more wine. Now, what would be the implications of running out of wine in a Jewish wedding? Well, Jewish weddings could last up to a week. Last up to a week long. And the provisions for the wedding were made by the groom's family. Part of this was because if there was a wedding where the groom's family could sustain it, it would maybe indicate that the groom could take care of his bride, that he came from a family that was stable. Next, being found unable to accommodate guests would hurt a family's reputation and would cause the celebration to end prematurely. And Mary expected Jesus to help as a family member. So think about at the wedding, the food runs out. We're not going to go to the random guest and ask for help. We're going to go to the family first. This is somewhat what happens here. Basically, running out of wine was not a good thing. We've run out of punch, right? Not good. John 2:3-5, or John 2:4, it says, Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." Are these easy verses to understand? First, let's address this response that Jesus gives. Woman, what does your concern have to do with me? Now, initially in Western culture, this probably is not an ideal response that you would give to your mother. It might sound a little bit disrespectful,